Fans, so it is the day after Kovalev Ward, and obviously, if you haven't seen the fight, you're probably seeing a lot of back and forth, bickering, bantering as far as the decision of the fight. Andre Ward scoring a unanimous decision over Sergey Kovalev in a great fight, man. I did a quick Periscope immediately following the fight, man, and I've gotten the chance to see the fight twice now. I saw, obviously, the fight live. After the fight, I had it Kovalev, eking it out. 7-5. Ward gets dropped in the second round. And it's funny, man. I did a prediction. When I did my prediction video, I said, don't be surprised if early on in the fight, Kovalev lands a shot that raises everybody's eyebrow. You can go back to my prediction video and play it out like that. Also, what I thought would happen happened in this fight. Andre Ward adjusted, began to land clean shots, was doing some good body work in the clinches, and you kind of saw Kovalev start to slow down a little bit. And as the fight progressed, you started to see, Ward just climbing up. But I think between rounds 9 to 12, for me, I scored the rounds 10 and 12 for Kovalev. When I tallied up the scorecards, I had Kovalev winning 114-113. I watched the fight again this morning, and I still had the same card. And, naturally, when you get really amped during a fight, you miss certain things, and I'm not somebody that gets swayed by commentators and things as such. I've been watching this sport long enough to know what I'm looking at, and I still came to the same conclusion. Now, look, you can make arguments for Ward and Kovalev, with that same scorecard, 114-113, or you can say it was a draw, but I had a tough time seeing Andre Ward win 7 consecutive rounds, because initially going into the 5th round, I had it 4-1 for Kovalev. And from that point, that's where Ward started getting the rounds in. And at one point, it was about to be a draw on my card, and I gave Kovalev that 10th round. And then I gave Ward the 11th, and then I gave Kovalev the 12th. So was I super shocked at when the scorecard came out and they announced Ward the winner? Initially, I was like, but then I kind of started to think about it. I'm like, I'm probably gonna watch this fight again, But after a second viewing, man, I still gave Kovalev the edge. And I mean, look, man, when people talk about robbery, I know that's been the narrative this morning. If you're somebody that either didn't watch the fight, or if you did watch the fight, and you're just looking to see did I score the fight wrong? Was I looking at it wrong? It's kind of split down the middle. There's a legion of people that are saying Ward won the fight, and there's a legion of people saying Kovalev won the fight. And I think this is going to be one of these fights, man, that we're going to argue for years to come, man. But outside of that, you got to give props to Andre Ward because of the fact that early on, man, he looked very sketchy. He was looking very hesitant after he got hit. Matter of fact, after he got hit with that first jab in the first round, you saw the body language. Then the second round, he gets dropped, and at that point, you're like, oh man, But you saw the adjustments on Ward's end, man, and you saw him go into second gear, so to speak, and he started wearing Kovalev down a little bit. But the thing about Kovalev is that he never steered away. He was having a little trouble kind of creating some offense that was going to deter Ward from, trying to get on the inside and trying to land those body shots. But I think what we saw in the later rounds, and again, to me, Kovalev, rounds 10 and 12, I think, just landed the more authoritative shots, and that's not to say Ward didn't do anything in those rounds. I just think if I'm looking at it based on who had the more effective round, in my opinion, Kovalev rounds 10 and 12 to me won him the fight. But if you had it a draw, or if you had it the opposite way, 114, 113 for Ward, it's not so much of a thing that I'm going to argue with you, man. Even with the whole crew, you know, my man, you know, ROD. I haven't spoken to Coltrane, who's overseas right now. But, you know, my man ROD had it for Ward. And it's like hard to argue. It really is hard to argue because, you know, really comes down to what you see in a fight. And Harold Lederman's scorecard was fucking atrocious. Kovalev did not win 116-111, man. And I think Dougie Fisher said the same thing, man. Like, no, man. Like, this was, I had it 6-5 Kovalev going into the last round. It was that close. It was that close, man. But after two viewings of this fight, man, I came to the same conclusion. I think Kovalev just edged it out. And are we going to see a rematch? I hope. I think the controversy is going to create the buzz for there to be a rematch. There is a rematch clause. So I don't think either guy should take an interim fight, man. I mean, I think this is a pure example of immediate rematch. And, you know, strike while the iron's hot, man. There's talks now about Kovalev, you know, his hand was injured somewhere in the fight. And thing is, you know, you don't want to really mention that after something like this because, you know, people are going to, you know, talk about excuses and the whole nine. But if you haven't got a chance to watch the fight, they're going to air it on HBO next weekend, you know, before the Nicholas Walters and Lomachenko fight. But, you know, it's on YouTube. You know, if you have Facebook, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can find a feed on there too. But if you haven't gotten a chance to watch it, man, I mean, it was a really, really, really good fight. And props to both guys. I hope we get to see this again, man. So Tuesday night, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, Guard Your Girl Boxing will be back. And we're going to be discussing this fight. Thursday night, Coltrane, I believe, will be back. And, or at least I think so. If not, I might be running the ship. We're going to be talking about this fight, and we're going to be talking about, obviously, this weekend's Lomachenko versus Walters fight. So, until then, out of here. Peace.